So last night in Los Angeles, for those of you that are in Los Angeles, maybe you woke up for it. We had a earthquake, and it was a. I mean, it was pretty strong. It shook me really hard. I sprung out of bed and like basically went running like a chicken with my head cut off, as I always do whenever an earthquake happens. And for those of you who haven't experienced earthquakes before, they're jolting, and especially when they're middle of the night, they're very kind of jolting experiences where all of a sudden something that you take as so certain, something that you take as so stable, like the ground beneath your feet, the four walls of your house, which seem stable, all of a sudden everything is moving. And you realize that you're a very small little ant on a big ship that is really moving about. Um, and as soon as it was done and I was lying back in bed, I was thinking about something that my first teacher used to always say. And he would say, the only certainty is uncertainty. The only certainty is uncertainty. The only thing that you can count on for certain is that things are uncertain, or the only thing that you count on is that things are in a state of flux and change. And I was thinking about that statement, and yes, there is truth to what he said. There is perpetual state of uncertainty. I mean, who would think that the earth all of a sudden starts shaking beneath you? Who would think that in a matter of days the world economy would shut down? Who would think these things would happen until they're happening, right? So there is a constant state of flux. There is a constant state of change. Sometimes it's way beyond what we could even imagine it to be. But I would amend that statement to say the only certainty is your relationship with your inner self. The only certainty is your relationship with your inner being, your highest self, the enlightened state within you, the Buddha consciousness within you, the divine source flow of energy within you. That is the certainty that in the midst of everything that is changing, we can link into and have a relationship with something that is unchanging, with something that is an absolute flow of peace. Even if the floors and the walls are shaking around you, there is a state of peace within you. Even if the economy is collapsing around you, there is a state of peace within you. Hold on one second, let me mute that. There is always a state of peace. There is always a state of well-being. There is always a state of clarity that is happening independent of the conditions that are going on. And the focus of our practice is to bring ourselves into relationship with that being within us that has certainty, that has clarity, that has focus, that has peace, that has stability. It is there, and it's the point of this class is to turn our attention into that awareness. And this is the last thing that I'll say, but for those of you that are Harry Potter fans, this is what's going through my mind in the middle of the night. I'm thinking about in Harry Potter, in the first book, when he first discovers that he's a wizard, and then they take him and he goes to the wizarding bank, and all of a sudden he realizes that he has a fortune in gold. And he never knew that it was there his entire life. He's grown up not knowing that he has an entire fortune to his name. And it's kind of the same when we don't have a relationship with our inner being. There is a fortune inside of you, not just of abundance, but of peace and of well-being and of clarity. There is a fortune inside of you that you may not be aware of until you take your attention and start to turn it in to your own self, into your own heart, into your own relationship with source. Okay? So even as things change around us, find the certainty within. Let's start our practice right now. Hands together at your heart, slightly bow your head.